back to the moment. By focusing back on our breathing. Maybe closing the eyes. Coming back inside to the center of our awareness. Noticing our inhales, noticing the gap of space between the exhale and the inhale, the inhale and the exhale. Maybe giving a little bit more space. Holding the breath before you exhale. Allowing yourself to be empty for a couple counts before inhaling. Still witness to all that we are. The witness to all that we do, all that we believe, all that we think. The witness to every rhythm of our breathing, the rhythm of our heart beating, the witness to us playing the game of life. Seriously, or not very seriously at all, maybe not seriously enough. Tuning back into the witness of us taking care of ourselves. Taking care of ourselves, and to the finding ease, and gracefully stepping into the moments we want to be embodying. Tuning into the flow. Let's see how often we can come back to this presence and witnessing throughout the rest of the evening. How you feeling?
Good. I was wondering if you have a favorite sort of like breath work practice that you like to use. So I like to do the in for 5, hold for a little while, and then out for 7.
5, eh?
Mm-hmm.
just heard a TikTok of someone saying that they do one for in for 4, hold for 4, out for 6, and then hold for 2.
I feel like I hold for 3-ish.
It's kind of hard to hold on the inhale. I find it's just a subtle extension of the inhale. You know what I mean? It's hard to stop, like literally stop inhaling.
Really?
And
I find it hard.
Let myself not inhale more and literally just pause.
Yeah, I find it harder on the exhale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like on the inhale, like, I can't inhale anymore.
I can inhale for an astonishing amount of time.
Really?
Oh yeah. Sometimes I've counted my inhale, or maybe I haven't counted, but definitely there has been at least a moment or two of us in bed, like falling asleep or whatever, or just some classic spooning action, you know what I'm saying? And like I'll be aware of your inhalations, exhalations, and you'll be like 23 deep to my one inhale.
Yeah, you do inhale pretty.
That's me like intentionally like
Yeah,
going
for
as
sure.
far as I can. But
Yeah.
you're
Yes, there's something
like
wrong
very
with
non-intentionally like just in your like just, you know, we all do it. That's probably my breath throughout the day. Snores and all. But it's helpful to really take those deep inhales and exhales.
Agreed.
Really fill it up, really expel all that stagnation that's built up in our lungs, really.
Yeah. I
don't know
kind of
how
feel
it
like a
really
lot
works,
of times
but-
I can't. Like, it feels like there's, even like when I exhale as much as I can, like I still feel like there's like something else in there that I'm not getting out. I don't know what the feeling is, but it's like, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Like air or energy, or what do you mean?
Like,
You do it right now.
I don't know, like, almost like there's like staleness in there or something. Like, I don't know, maybe if it's just mostly I've noticed it on days where like, oh, I haven't really been breathing very deeply today. Maybe just like take some, like a pump, you know, takes a little time to pump it out. Yeah. Feel like Wheezy from Toy Story.
I think that's honestly really healthy to do that, like
Pumping.
wheeze it out.
Yeah.
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 Because you're right, there is a little bit left in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not like it's a bag that's filling up, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't actually know the science of your
Yeah,
lungs. Like, I
for
don't think they're an
sure.
actual container. I think they're more like
Yeah.
closer to the shape of like a tree with like branches, right?
Yeah.
So there's like pockets of
Right. But I feel like that's probably
Vegetables.
why those like Wim Hof
Vegetables. Is that
vegetables.
the word?
Vestibules.
Lung sacs. Those are called
Yeah.
vestibules, right?
Yeah, that's what we call those. Ventricles, is that the word you're looking for? I don't know. But like the rapid type of breath where it's like, I feel like that's probably really good in getting like sort of stagnation out, because you think of like those pumps for fireplaces, you know, that you kind of like I think that's sort of like a pseudo lung. You've got to like kind of pump it to get the air out. Pump. Like you're pumping the lungs to move the stuff from the bottom up. I don't know. That's just that's what I think of. It's like an image.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, I think it's cycling in some sense, but you know, if you can get all of it out and then replenish it with all new energy, like,
Yeah.
that'd probably be helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of funny that it's seen as like Wim Hof breathing, because it's basically like Kundalini yoga. Those are like breath of fire is the super rapid,
Gotcha.
where you're almost like just focusing on the inhale, and the exhale is basically, the exhale is like you're really focusing on the inhale, and the exhale is just like a little bit of a pressure valve leak. But you're trying to pump it. You know?
Right. You remember when we did that breathing technique and then watched Coherence?
I do.
Yeah.
Tell
That's
the
pretty
fine people on the
psychedelic.
internet about it.
Huh?
Tell the fine internet folks about it. I remember.
About,
What do we do?
I don't remember the specific breathing technique we did. We did one of those that like the fast, you know.
I think it was from an actualized episode. That
That
was when I was into.
into Leah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember we did it for a while. It was probably like...
It was like 20 minutes.
It was like a 20-minute thing, yeah.
I think we were supposed to do it for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the intermediate is like 60, and advanced would be like hour and a half, 2 hours.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it for like 20 minutes. We'd been fasting that day. Remember? And
I believe you.
yeah, it was like one of the first fasts that we did.
Are we fast or
Like a
juice
24
fast?
hour. I think it was a juice fast.
I don't think
you're
we've
right.
ever done an actual dry fast.
Yeah, maybe not 24 hour.
Well, not dry, but like water fast even.
Yeah.
Together. I think I have. Done maybe like 24 hours water fast.
But anyway,
Let's get a fast done this week.
I could be convinced.
I would like to.
Okay. It's probably a good idea. But yeah, what do you remember from that breath work? Do you remember like any specific sensations or
Technique
anything?
itself or how I felt?
No, how you felt.
I felt like weirdness in my hands.
Me too. That's what I remember.
Like almost
most.
like they were I had fallen asleep type of feeling.
That tingle,
The tingle sort of thing.
like the pins and needles, sort of.
Kind of.
Yeah, it wasn't quite
It
like
wasn't
pins
quite
and needles.
that. It wasn't like uncomfortable. It was more just sort of like, yeah. Like my blood circulation had clearly shifted.
Yeah.
I think that's what the feeling was.
Right.
I felt it in my extremities.
Right.
I don't. That was literal years ago. That was like a totally different phase of our life.
Yeah.
Our lives. You know what year that was? Like 2016, 17, 18?
It's probably 17. If I had to guess.
Yeah, so 5 years ago. Yeah, I don't remember too much about it, but I liked it. Be
Yeah.
interested to do it again. Just one of those things. It's just like the complete opposite of, the classic dopamine addictions that most of us are looping in. It's like the opposite, and that it takes a lot of motivation to do something like that.
Yeah.
It's not a low cost, high reward, like so many other things. It's
What would you describe it as? 'Cause, like, I mean, there is no cost. Like,
the
what's
cost is spending the time and gathering up the motivation to commit to spending that time.
Yeah, but
And
like,
it's like sort of an exercise. Like it's not easy.
Yeah, it is an
That's the
exercise
cost.
for sure.
The cost and energy. The cost and time and energy.
But it also
Motivation.
is energizing in itself.
Right. That's
Yeah.
the reward.
Right. So that's the reward. And it's like 20 minutes, like, I guess that sounds like a lot of time, but then we think about, like, it's just a drop in the bucket of
I
what
understand
the
you
time
mentally.
that I spend on my
Right.
phone, you know?
Yeah, true that. Yeah. If we could use that mental understanding to leverage into a motivation,
Yeah.
the reward is actually rewarding. I mean, I know that physiologically it is, but I mean, did you feel like the endorphins? Like, what do you remember about it?
I
Did you
do
feel
remember feeling energized.
Well, we turned on a psychological thriller like pretty closely after we finished
Yeah.
it, so I think we sort of like got ourselves feeling trippy for a kind of trippy movie.
It
is
was,
what I
yeah, but we
feel
didn't
like it
even know
was.
what was coming, you know?
No,
That's
it wasn't.
wild.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional necessarily.
Yeah.
They're just like, let's do this real quick and then we'll watch a movie.
Yeah.
I was like, we'll chill afterwards.
Right.
It's a very trippy movie.
Yeah.
I mean, trippy? I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say it's a trippy psychological.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say thriller. It's not really a thriller.
But it kind of is a thriller.
Yeah, you're right. It does have thrilling aspects.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like
and you don't
car
know
chases
how, yeah,
and stuff like that. Not that kind of thriller, but
super violent.
You just
or
don't know
like that.
what-
But there's kind
yeah.
of a threat of that. Like it could break out into that at any point.
yeah,
That's part of what's,
there's that anticipation.
anticipation.
Yeah.
I remember like practically not dry heaving. That's definitely not what I'm trying. I had a visceral like
Yeah.
response to it. Mm-hmm. Like there's a word for it. I don't know. I'm so not used to that
Yeah.
experience.
I know.
Not dry heaving, but like quivering. Maybe. I was
Maybe.
like my heart was beating so
like
fast.
your heart was thumping.
Yeah, and I feel like it was like
Is there a word for that?
maybe not quivering.
I'm probably not
Probably
quivering.
not quivering. Probably not dry heaving.
Okay, we know what it's not.
My heart was jumping out of my chest.
Yeah. That might be.
And I feel like I was breathing fast.
Yeah.
Like I feel, and I just felt it very viscerally.
Oh, I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember feeling very much like
I was on edge.
I was too. And yeah, I remember being very excited about it because it was like
What?
just the movie in general. Like it was.
Beforehand, or while it was happening, you were
no,
excited
while
that
it-
you were feeling that way.
I mean, I feel like
I
no.
felt
I mean, like
uncomfortable.
you felt uncomfortable. Yeah,
Go
I
on,
mean,
though.
yeah.
You
I
felt
mean,
what?
afterwards, I felt very excited about it because it was like this
Oh,
cool
sure,
movie
yeah,
that
and
we
it had
had
a-
just like come across at the library.
Yeah.
And then like I wanted everybody to watch it. And Coleman, remember the boys all watched it at Boy's house, and Coleman was like, "Oh, like I liked it, but like made me really
No-
uncomfortable."
No one's enjoyed it as much as we have.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Shannon and Jacob
I feel like Shannon liked it a lot.
to a
yeah.
lesser degree, but
Yeah.
like everyone else that we've like casually recommended to, we either haven't heard back from them about it or have heard that it was
Yeah.
not super. No, Nick liked it.
Yeah,
I think Nick liked it.
I think Nick liked it.
Yeah. I thought about this when you were talking about emptying out your lungs and replenishing your lung space with fresh air. Which brings up other considerations about how fresh is our air.
I had the same thought.
You know, it made me think about something I was thinking about this week about, you know, how they talk about how fish don't know they're in water.
I've heard that.
Like fish don't know that they're in water. We don't, in the same way, we don't think about the air that we're swimming
Right.
through,
Right?
traversing through, and
Yeah, we don't think of ourselves as swimming.
that's for sure.
Maybe we should,
I don't think we are.
in a certain sense.
Yeah. We're walking through air,
Yeah.
you know. But it's true, if the air pressure was different, we would traverse it differently. You know, the air pressure's different. On the moon, the gravity's different. You just be bopping.
It'd be pretty fun.
Pretty crazy. Anyway, point being, I was thinking about, you know, the environments that we spend a lot of our times in and the energy that we fill. You know, we have the fishbowl of our house. You know, you have the fishbowl of the library that you work at, you know. and we fill these containers of our environment with the water, with the air, with the energy of certain vibes, you know? Like your workspace probably energetically feels a little bit different when the waters are occupied by different people.
For sure.
Everyone brings in, we all have our own individual fishbowl of our aura, you know, like I have my vibe and my emotions and my energy, and you know, and when you enter a collective fishbowl, we occupy that space with our own individual energies, and we collaborate the vibe.
Yeah.
You know, this house is different when we're both in it versus just one of us. And then when we're not here and Bella's still here, literally still witnessing the space and
I wonder what it's like.
Right. She transforms into a whole different entity.
Probably. Look at her up there.
You know, I was thinking about like music is one of the things that I fill my space with, and how I have had a tendency to like listen to music for the nostalgia factor. I know we've talked about this before, but yeah, in a certain sense, I'm attached to certain music. But I love it. Like I have an emotional attachment to it, and it's also, you know, it's good music and it tickles my brain in a certain way. But I think that, you know, those neural pathways firing when they have, you know, cues from history, you know, historical cues, neurons fire together, wire together type stuff. You've heard that phrase? Yeah. Like when you have a certain emotion doing a certain thing, you know, you're going to kind of either look for that in that thing, or it's going to mirror itself and, you know, repostulate that energy by entering that space or activity or vibe or whatever, you know. Yeah, I guess I'm opening myself to figuring out how to clean out my water, because I feel like my energy has been pretty murky.
Yeah.
It's accumulating over decades.
I understand that, yeah. It's definitely like feeling a desire to like deep clean, purge my space, our space. Make a physical representation of shedding.
Yeah. I think I'd be a little bit more motivated to do that if I knew that with that cleansed space, we're gonna actively try to cleanse our internal fishbowl as well.
Yeah. You are supposed to clean out fish bowls.
Yeah. Like, most people use aquariums.
Or a fish bowl. It's a small fish.
Pretty old school. This is one example of many domains of my life where I feel like I've tried a thing and failed at it, and I don't even want to do it. I don't want to try it anymore because it feels like, I was explaining this to Lucas and Amanda the other day, where it's like I've tried something and I've failed, so it's almost like my ego and its incessant striving to keep itself safe, you know, from pain and discoloration of its identity. You know, it wants to stay its prideful, predictable self, you know. It's almost like it wants to jump cut the thing, like, oh, well, again, neurons that fire together, wire together, you know. Oh, I tried this thing, that led to disappointment. Why don't I just jump cut from the thing to the disappointment, or to the failure? Why don't I just, and not even try?
Right.
I said that to them, and Luke's just like, "Yep, that's the depressed brain." Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I was talking to him weeks ago about, that, and about like, depression and what he calls the depressed brain. And we were talking about, just seeing it as like an entity, almost as like a demon, a thought form, an energy,
right.
And I was actually just listening to an old episode of Jessa and Mark talking, and they're talking about like the energies of like what are demons, and just talking about them being like thought forms, and that we are like creators, and that's our godly nature, is our ability to create. I was thinking about that even earlier today. It's like, our life really is our art. People that say they're not artists or not creative, like, we have access to creating our life any way that we want it. We are all painting a picture, a time lapse of our time on Earth. We can either paint that picture emulating our ancestors, our parents, and it may look exactly like theirs in some energetic way, maybe not exactly, right?
Right.
And I think that's the default. I think that's the matrix of matter, mattering, peopling, that's the natural karma unfolding,
right. Modeling.
Yeah. And like self-replicating type of just,
Yeah.
flower of life, flowering and unfolding, and it's not like there's anything wrong with that. But also it's like, with the awareness that is a pattern, is that the pattern we want to be creating, because we do have that power with our choices,
right,
with the people we choose to spend our time with, how we decorate our fish bowls and what energy we bring into it, that's sustaining us. So it's like, I can have these like life enriching insights when I'm outside and in a fresh moment, or collaborate with medicine that refreshes my mental thought train, a stream of thought.
Right.
I have access to different streams, maybe streams I've been on before but just aren't accessing all the time or whatever, and but it's like, I've just built up a certain energy and different areas of my life that are just not helping,
Yeah.
just circulating loops and stuff.
Yeah. So if there's one thing that you can, like, if you could just do one thing to start to close or spiral out one of those loops, what do you think you could start with? Not necessarily need to answer the question right now, but I don't know, we have like the tendency to like we've got to clean up everything and we've got to do everything all at once, and we're gonna be completely different people by this time next week, and that's just like so overwhelming.
And unrealistic.
Yeah, and unrealistic, and I realize that this
that
is
was
a
an
loop in and of
exaggeration,
itself, you know?
What? Yeah, talking about this.
Talking about this and like saying, what's one thing we can do, and then never doing the one thing. Yeah. And so it's just
But that's like, self-defeatist to not.
Right.
Yeah. That's life. Life is a loop. We are on the spiral of existence,
Right.
We've done all of this before. We can't let the pride of our ego keep us from moving forward just because of, I've been on this step. I might have jumped off the staircase at this point, but I've been on this step. Okay, we'll get back to that step and take the next step.
Yeah.
I think exercise really is like crucial.
Yeah.
And meditation, mindfulness and stuff.
Right. I know.
Even if it's just a moment.
Yeah.
I mean, going on my morning walks has been helpful.
Yeah.
Because I treat it as a meditation. It's a mindful exercise, and I'm bringing my awareness back to. I've been working with mantras and stuff.
That's nice. Yeah.
And, if I can find myself doing that again throughout the day, that's the work. Like,
Right.
that's seeing those seeds sprout, you know? 'Cause it's not just about, like, taking time out of life, moments out of time to be in the divine,
Yeah.
The idea is to integrate it, to be divine with the way that we're living our lives,
Yeah.
developing our rhythms of existence. Do we want to just be clones of the past? Do we want to be slaves to nostalgia and, just this classic stuff? Just like, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Like, yeah, we are in a crazy pivotal moment in human history, but like, really, we always have been.
Yeah. Right.
It's just, I mean, this is a particular brink of, like,
for sure.
maybe even the next evolution of consciousness,
Yeah.
with AI and everything. Like, we're basically have birthed a new species.
Yeah. I think that's why it's really important to, like, find ways to regulate our nervous systems. It's like, I don't know, there's just so much change and so much, not necessarily upheaval, but, like, there's just, like, a palpable sense of, like, anxiety and stress with just about every person that I come into contact with. And, yeah, I guess I'm just, like, super aware of, like, how I don't actually know how to feel my feelings or, like, release it. That's what apparently, like, the key is. You've got to release your emotions because we're just storing them. And, like, what does that actually mean? That means regulating our nervous systems. And I think that could be, like, my one thing is, like, finding a way to regulate my nervous system that actually works for me. Because, like, there's a million ways to do it.
Like what?
Like, different breathing techniques and exercise and, like, those are all ways of regulating your nervous system, like doing, like, vagus nerve work and, like, cold showers. That's all I can think of right now, but I know there's countless ways to regulate your nervous system. You're just finding one way that works for this season. Yeah. And exercise probably is a really good one. Like, I mean, you get time to, process your thoughts on things and then, like, actually physically release your feelings. Because, like, intellectualizing about it isn't feeling my feelings.
Yeah.
Even, like, I feel like journaling isn't doing it. Because that's really just more of putting words to it. Which it can be helpful. It is a step and can be helpful for sure. I'm not knocking it, but, like, I don't think that for me personally it's helping me really process much.
Really?
Yeah. Physically anyway, because I mean I think it's a two-step process, like yeah, it's like naming it, figuring out where it comes from, like, and you're like, oh, why am I feeling this? Oh, it's because when I was a kid this thing happened. So, like, that step, and then actually, like, releasing it from the body.
Yeah, I think it was that same video that I was referencing with the 4-4-6-2 breathwork thing. She was saying 3 things that can change your life. That was one of them. The other one was shaking it out, like, every morning. Just.
I think I might have seen that video.
I think the third one was screaming into your pillow in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
I can't knock it if I haven't tried it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have been talking about this with a lot of people, like that we don't have a whole lot of healthy avenues for expressing rage
Yeah.
and anger in particular, you know?
Yeah.
Not that we have that many examples of expressing other emotions in healthy ways
Right.
either, but I mean, with sadness and stuff, we have movies,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
Anger, we have what? Metal in sports,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like the more we start releasing our emotions, the more anger is going to be that comes up more often than not. I saw this video that a guy was talking about anger and like safe ways to release anger, and he had a really great technique that he uses, and I can't remember what it is right now, but I saved it and it's awesome. But I just remember him saying that like pretty much behind every emotion that we feel, anger's behind it. And as you start to uncover your emotions, like the anger is really going to come up.
Okay. I mean, you know, if you're talking about like the stages of grief, you know, I guess
Yeah.
any negative emotion is a form of grief. And, you know, they say there's different stages to it, you know, the anger, the denial, the bargaining, eventually the acceptance, you know, but to move through all that. Is depression one of them, you know,
Yeah.
sadness and whatever. But to me, I think, yeah, of course anger's going to come out because there's a lot of injustice
Yeah.
in the world and in our lives, you know. And I think that's at the root of anger, is a feeling of injustice, you know, that of feeling oppressed by another person, by a situation, you know, feeling like this is not fair.
Yeah.
We can do better. We can do better. And sometimes it takes anger to cut through the monotony and the stagnation and the complacency
Right.
to get to that clarity.
Right.
You know, that may be ugly sometimes, but it's there for a reason.
But it's like anger's so hard
It's a
for
fire.
me to be around.
It's a fire, and it can
Yeah.
be contained, and it can be used to, you know, build beautiful creations,
Yeah.
or burn it all down.
Right.
Do you want to say more about that? You said anger is really what for you?
Oh, it's just hard for me to be around anger. It's hard to hold space for it because it's terrifying. It's just like puts my whole body into fight or flight.
Do you think it's kind of cool?
No, I don't. I mean, I respect it. I do. I respect somebody that can access it and can figure out how to release it, especially in healthy ways.
Yeah. I'm
But,
mostly being
like,
facetious, obviously, but
yeah.
I think that there is something cool about being passionate and caring about things being better
Yeah.
and healthier. You know, unfortunately, that's not what a lot of anger. You know, there's a ton of
Yeah.
misguided anger. There's
For
a lot
sure.
of just the ego clutching and grasping at its self-imposed prison ego bars and just,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of that.
Right. Yeah.
That's ugly and not super helpful. But, you know, and MLK, you know, that was come from a place of anger and compassion.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. And there's a lot of passion and rage, and that's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. But it's you know, dealing with trauma responses and stuff, you know, you can't really help what your body does.
Which is why it's crucial to process that and release it so that you can access
Yeah,
your own anger
that's-
and your own,
What I'm saying, yeah.
you know,
Right.
I mean, it's obviously, I don't think it's the highest vibing emotion, obviously. But it's there for a reason, and I think it gets demonized, and I think it gets sanctioned to sports balls and Mostly sports. That's
Yeah.
really like the only real place that I see a venue for that type of passion, a visceral bodily passion. Mm-hmm. You know, not that sports is just a bunch of anger, whatever. You know what I mean? But it's an
Right.
aggressive thing, and like I think it's more from like fans getting angry about the game going their way or not, you know, type of thing. But I mean, you know, there's road rage. That's another like pretty
Yeah,
common.
right.
But it's like none of those are really healthy. Like
No.
obviously road rage is certainly not healthy. But yeah, just to your point though, it's gonna come out if we haven't set aside space for it, it will find space.
Right.
And if it's finding itself, then it's finding cracks in the foundation, you know, cracks in the structuring, which is going to probably be more ugly. Because probably, you know, it's finding opportunities rather than creating opportunities to sit with it and be intentional. It's going to unintentionally slip out at inappropriate times.
Yeah.
Like someone fucking up your order or
I know.
or stress at work.
Yeah,
or,
totally.
You know, so I'm not driving fast enough
Yeah.
or driving too fast around you.
Somebody not walking fast enough across the street.
Type of thing.
Getting stuck behind a slow walker in the grocery store.
Yeah.
My biggest source of rage recently. Okay, so our new library has the teeny tiniest sink in our kitchen. Like it's like that big. The sink is teeny tiny. And it's one of those motion sensor sinks. And it's like impossible to wash dishes after lunch. It is the most rage fueling experience that I've had in a long time. Trying to keep the water going in this teeny tiny sink to wash my stupid little Tupperware dish after having my little lunch at work.
My little lunch and my little Tupperware, my little sink.
My little teeny tiny sink. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's like I just want to scream sometimes.
Sheesh.
Yeah. And I've seen every other person have the same frustration. So, yeah, that teeny tiny sink. It
I
sucks.
just have to make a big mess and then clean up the water on the floor afterwards. That might be the only way.
They also didn't caulk the sink in when they put in the sink on this counter. So there's nothing under, there's no caulking around it. So the water just goes under the sink when you're washing, you know, when inevitably water gets all over the counter. It just goes under the sink because I didn't caulk it in.
Oh my god.
Yeah, maybe cut that out.
I mean, I think it's a good example of how, you know, like our individual fishbowls or auras or reach on our own little timeline.
Yeah.
Walking around in our fishbowl, that it affects other fishbowls, you know? And,
Yeah.
which is why it's helpful to keep a clean vibe, keep a conscious vibe,
Right.
and to not be angering other people with our ignorance, you know? Us ignoring what may be a consideration to someone else, also known as being inconsiderate,
Yeah.
you know?
Right. But the you know, there's the other extreme of being overly considerate of other people.
Sure. What are you getting at?
I don't know. It's just that there's a balance.
Well, of
you
course
know?
there's a balance, yeah. There's
That's
censor,
just
yeah.
that was my point.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're overly considerate to the point of anxiety, you know, it's like find a flow, but don't be so flowy that you're spilling all over everybody around you, you know? Like a nice channeled flow.
Yeah.
So, anyway, what's the flow gonna be this week?
Well, the first half of the week's gonna be very productive. the second half of the week is going
What
to
will you
be
be producing?
results. I'm just gonna clean this place up, and I want to throw things away. Just clutter. Not like throw it away. I'll be responsible about it. But just get rid of clutter.
Respond
Yeah.
to the things that have accumulated in our
Correct.
fishbowl.
Right. Yeah.
Make sure there's space for proper flow and
For sure.
ventilation.
Yeah. Right. We're gonna dust. All good stuff. Dusting's my least favorite chore. And you can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, we can tell because we don't have a duster.
I have a duster. What are you talking about?
Duster things?
Oh, those dusters? No, that just
What are you
moves the
talking
dust
about?
around.
What do you mean, a dustbuster? What duster do we have?
Those towels, dusting towels.
Oh. Well, we'll be breaking this out.
Yeah, we will.
Anything you want to highlight from our conversation? Any takeaways?
I don't know that it's like a complete thought, but just when we were talking about like breathing methods and stuff, that it's not necessarily like a low cost, high reward situation, but I was like, yeah, but like it's only 20 minutes. I could apply that to my life a little bit more. Yeah. There's lots of things that I put off that won't take that long and will make a pretty high impact.
Yeah. Heard something about like if you see something that you could do and it's gonna take less than 2 minutes, just do it.
Totally.
And just having that as a rule for yourself, you know.
Yeah.
20 minutes to stretch or breathe or
Or even 5
shake
minutes.
it out.
Just start with 5 minutes. It's better
Yeah.
than nothing.
It's like, can we take a break from scrolling on the internet for 5 to 20 minutes to do something that's going to have a positive, life enriching, like mood boosting
Yeah.
impact
We could
on
totally
our
do that.
visceral reality. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the things we're consuming on the internet aren't bringing us back into reality and into our center, like what are we really doing other than
It's just another loop.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fun little
Yeah. Right.
and then boring. Yeah.
Right.
Boring.
Exactly.
So messed up. It's worse than cigarettes.
Yeah.
It's like, remember when addictions at least were cool?
No.
Like cigarettes, you know, kind of rebellious and badass.
Why?
At one point, they, you know, weren't even rebellious. They were just you got your little incense stick that you are inhaling, and it makes
Yeah.
you a little lightheaded and
Yeah.
loopy for a second.
Right.
You know, just a little casual, whatever. They smell good before you light it on fire. Drinking, like, yeah. There's an archetype that the happy-go-lucky, whatever. Just
Life of the
enjoying
party.
life. Yeah, whatever.
For sure.
And now our addictions are being on our phones and staring at screens.
Yeah. We're all
That's-
becoming hunchbacks.
Yeah, it's It's pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
Lame. There's nothing cool about it. All right, that's not entirely true. There is some cool stuff on the internet.
Yeah, there's definitely cool stuff on the internet. I mean, it's cool to be able to
It's just not cool to
connect
consume
with,
it all the time.
Right.
And to do nothing with the information.
For sure.
But I don't know, I think it's kind of shameful. Like, you ever, like, be in public and look at your phone? Like, I don't know, I'm embarrassed to be seen on my phone. Like, if I ever, like, get on, God forbid, Facebook. If someone saw me on Facebook, I'd be humiliated.
Oh my gosh, you're so dramatic.
Cringe.
It's so cringe.
Yes!
Come on.
You don't think so?
I see you on Facebook.
Well, yeah, we share a fishbowl. I mean, like, if I was, like, at a bar or in a public space or, like...
Yeah.
And someone saw me on Facebook. It could be something else. It could be less embarrassing, but it'd still be... I don't know, I think it's embarrassing. You don't get that? That's the main
No,
thing.
I do.
I think it's embarrassing to be seen doing the thing that we all do, you know? But it feels so, like, self-indulgent and, like... antisocial, you know, because if you're in public, the idea is you're, like, interacting with other people, or, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's just something very gross to me about being on my phone around other people, or seeing other people on their phone. Obviously, I'm not judging them, or, like, you know, making it a thing about their character. It's just like, oh, gross. It's like, I don't know. Since someone pick their nose or something, it's like, you know, we all do it. I don't want to see you doing it. It's gross.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, I don't know, earlier today or yesterday or something, about, like, the first times that I can remember, like, having a phone and, like, being able to use that to, like, squelch my social anxiety. Like, being out somewhere and, like, waiting for a friend or something and, like, pretending to look at my phone or, like, pretending to text, you know?
Oh, God.
Yeah, just like, ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, it became a crutch really quickly.
Yeah.
And that, like, not having to look at other people that are around.
Exactly. So, like, is that helping?
Probably not. Maybe in some situations. You ever tried the whole pretending to be on a phone call thing?
No.
So you don't.
No, I haven't.
You were literally just telling somebody about that yesterday.
I know. I didn't say I'd do it myself. I was doing a bit. I was being funny.
It was pretty funny.
The person I was talking to thought it was funny. No, I've never done that. I mean, I've never, like, put it up to my face and, like, pretended to talk or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've probably, like, looked at my phone or, like, had a podcast still on or something as I was going into the house or something.
And pretending to have it up to your ear?
No, just like
actually
pretending that I'm
having...
distracted.
Oh,
or, like,
yeah.
something like that.
I've done that.
I mean, a lot of times I'll, like, jostle with my keys and, like, pretend that
Wait, which one's the house key again?
Which of these two ones? Is it the fob or is it the key? I can never remember. Or is it the Dead & Co. dog tag? That's someone put in my tip jar.
With those thoughts in mind.
Tee-hee.
Good night.